According to an article by Bloomberg, rent in Toronto has climbed 20% compared to last year. In this video, I will go over why rent prices have been rising, why people are having a difficult time getting into the rental market, and I'm going to share with you how I've personally helped clients prepare and land a property to rent. Please stay tuned to the end because I will share with you a guide that I've created that helped my clients get a property to rent. Based on the Toronto Real Estate Board's latest rental market report, the average rent for a one-bedroom condo apartment is going for over $2,400. The average rent for a two-bedroom condo in the city is actually going over $3,100. I know, it's absolutely crazy. So I know the question on a lot of your minds is, why is rent increasing? So in my opinion, one factor that is contributing to the increase in rent price is that the demand for rent has hit an all-time high. What I mean by this is that there are many more renters in the market now because many people that were planning on buying are now deciding to sit on the sidelines due to higher borrowing cost. This year so far, we've already gone through 6 interest rate hikes. Due to the higher cost to borrow, people that were planning on buying are either no longer qualified for as much as they once could be qualified for, so they're holding off on buying altogether, or they actually don't even qualify anymore. So their next plan of action is that they're temporarily entering into the rental market, and that's why the rental market has become so saturated. Now, because there's an increase in the amount of people needing to rent while supply remains low, I have noticed that more and more people are bidding on rent, so which in turn increases the cost of rent. So it's basically the same type of situation that was happening in February when so many buyers were overbidding for homes. So because supply for properties to rent is limited and there's now more demand for rent, that people feel desperate to land a property to rent, so they end up offering over asking the rent price in order to get chosen to tenant the property. So just to recap here, so because there's an increase of demand for those that are entering the rental market, and now there's an increase in bidding, those two factors are contributing to the rent price to increase. Finally, based on what I've experienced and seen, rent prices have also increased because those investors that have purchased properties at a high cost are now pricing rent high in order for them to either break even or profit off of their investments. So just to give you an example, if you've purchased a home for $1 million, you're going to have to charge a lot more in rent to say either rent out the entire of the home or rent out top and bottom in order to be able to hold down that mortgage that you may have on the property, in comparison to a property that you may have purchased for $500,000, where you can lower the rent cost just because your mortgage won't be as big. So just that, I hope, gives you some more perspective as to why investors are having to put rent cost at a higher rate in comparison to the past when home prices were lower. Now that we know some of the factors that have caused the price of rent to increase, let's go into talking about some of the challenges that I've seen happening to those trying to get into the rental market. But before I get into these challenges, I want to share a story with you. So I had a family reach out to me wanting to find a property to rent, and they gave me a timeline of 2 weeks. So I immediately started to ask for supporting documents that they can gather ahead of time before we actually go see properties, but they didn't have anything in place. So I had to wait for them to gather all of these documents. And by the time they were able to gather everything, a week had already passed. So now I'm left with 1 week to find them a home. This obviously didn't leave us with a lot of time to actually go through listings, to book showings, especially because they were a family that were working full time. So I had to work around their schedule in order to book showings in the evenings, which were more convenient for them. So eventually we found them a home. We put in an offer, but we didn't get the property. I asked for feedback from the agent in order to get a better understanding as to why my clients weren't chosen. And what I was told is that the landlord was looking for a smaller family because in their eyes, they see less people cause less wear and tear on the property. So, I mean, I can't change the landlord's mind, so we had to just move on with our search and continue to look for properties. So as we continue searching, we found another property. We put in an offer, but again, we did not get the home. Why? Because we were outbid. So another family or couple, I'm not quite sure who, but they actually put in a higher offer for the home. So obviously the landlord here was happier with more money. So they chose that offer instead of ours. I just want to mention that the clients that I was working with had everything going for them. Their income was great. Their credit score was amazing. So there really wasn't any reason as to why a landlord wouldn't choose them. But despite all that, we were still facing all these obstacles. So now going back, we were continuing to search for properties. We found another property, but at this time we were past our time frame for my client. So I just want to make that clear. We weren't able to meet that 2-week deadline, but that didn't stop us from continuing to search. There were some arrangements that had to be made for my clients in order for them to find a temporary place to stay while we continued to look for properties. So we finally found another property and we put in an offer and all looked well. But before the deal was closed, the landlord wanted to meet with my clients. So I scheduled an interview. The landlord had a connection with them, and then the deal was closed. So I want to go over this part for you because I don't think a lot of people really understand how this connection can work in their favor. The ultimate decision on whether a client gets chosen for a property or not is basically based on the landlord's decision. And a lot of the times, the landlord wants to feel connected to who is going to be living temporarily in their home. Maybe they feel that if they have this connection, there's going to be better communication. They feel more comfortable and at ease with, who's going to be taking care of their home temporarily. So this is just an important aspect that I think a lot of people don't think about. I think an interview is actually a great way for your landlord to feel more comfortable, to know who's going to be living in their home. So I wouldn't disregard this as an option. I actually encourage my clients to offer an interview as an option to the landlord, just so that they have more of peace of mind knowing who they're gonna choose, who's gonna be living in their home. Because you can look all well on paper, but we all know that once we get to see each other in person, that's when a real connection is actually made. So I just wanted to raise that point because I think it was a really important one. The reason why I share this story is to give you some perspective of what to expect when looking for a home to rent. It's not always a cut and dry process, especially during this time where rent is in high demand. Being prepared and having realistic expectations is what will prepare you to be able to better execute your goal of finding a home to rent. That brings me into how I've personally helped clients prepare to get a home to rent. I have provided you with the guide that I have given clients looking for a home to rent in the description box down below. And what I've also done is I've done another video providing tips to renters. So if you think that would be helpful for you, please check out this video right here. Now, on a side note, for those that are not working with a realtor, I came across this article titled "Police Warn of GTA Rentals Scam Posted on Kijiji Facebook Marketplace." So this article goes into explaining how some people are finding properties to rent on these two platforms and are actually putting in offers without seeing the property. And then they end up sending money to these scammers to close the deal. I can understand the frustration around the competitiveness of the current rental market and how some people may succumb to certain measures just to land a property, but I just want you to please be warned that it is highly recommended that you actually go see the property that you have interest in, no matter what the circumstances are. I'm not saying that all the ads on Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji are scams. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I would hate for any of your hard-earned money to go to a waste on scams like this one. I hope this video helped you get a better understanding of why rent is increasing and how to prepare to get into the rental market. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.